Good evening. Welcome to the Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority on regular meeting agenda. Today is Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021. It is 6:30 p.m. I will now take roll call. Mayor Javier Mena is here. Mayor Pro Tem Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Raul Ureña.
Here.
Councilmember Gloria Romo.
Here.
Councilmember Rosie Arriola.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Due to the declaration of emergency, this meeting is being held pursuant to AB 361, approved by Governor of California on September the 16th, 2021, and some or all of the city council members may participate in this meeting by teleconference. Pursuant to Imperial County Public Health Department guidelines, city council meetings are now open for public attendance at 100% capacity of the city council chambers, and all persons entering City Hall will be required to wear a face mask. Public participation will continue to be available in the following ways. Members of the public are encouraged to watch the meeting via live stream at http://communityspectrum.org live at 6:30 p.m. or via the Calexico City Hall Facebook page at www.facebook.com City of Calexico CA. Members of the public will be able to make public comments in the following ways. In-person comments, submit comments, public comments via email by 2 p.m. on Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021 to our city clerk at gggarcia@calexicoca.gov or via fax to 760-768-2103. You may also make public comments via Zoom from a PC, Mac, iPad, iPhone, or Android device. Please click the link below to join the webinar. We have a passcode. You can dial in at 1-669-900-6833. The webinar ID number is 893-3291-1339, and the passcode is 567842. So now, if you get it right, please stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing. We're now going to have read the mission statement. I will read that. Ready, begin. City of Calexico mission statement.
Together, we pledge to provide effective and efficient services in a courteous and respectful manner to improve the quality of life for all in our unique border community. Viva Calexico.
And now we'll have an invocation by Mr. Raul Ureña.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. God of justice and mercy, thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our city. As we gather here today, I ask for your guidance, wisdom, and respect for one another. I ask for your blessing in our responsibility to serve the common good of all. I ask you to help us engage in your divine wisdom in meaningful discussion that will grant us the courage to know and do what is right and just for the people. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Ureña. Please be seated. We now are at the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda, but I would like to leave item number 8 for discussion, for it to be pulled from the consent agenda, so we may discuss.
Number 8. So pull item, would you make a motion to approve the consent agenda, but remove item 8, approve resolution City Council of Calexico approving the city's use of American.
If I may, Mayor, when the time comes for that section of the agenda, that is when Councilmember Ureña's request can be considered. At this point, you can simply approve the agenda as is. Once we get to the consent calendar, that matter can be addressed.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make a motion just to approve the agenda.
Okay. All right, second that? Who's
Second.
second? Second by Ms. Romo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried 5-0. Thank you. And we have presentations. We do have a proclamation for Code Enforcement Officer Appreciation Week. And I will start that. Whereas the state of California has proclaimed the second week of October as Code Enforcement Officer Appreciation Week, and
Whereas code enforcement officers provide for the safety, health, and welfare of citizens of Calexico through the enforcement of local, state, and federal laws and ordinances dealing with various issues of building, zoning, housing, animal control, environmental health, and life safety, and whereas code enforcement officers have challenging and demanding roles and often do not receive recognition for the job they do in improving the quality of life for residents and businesses of local communities, and
Whereas the role of many code enforcement officers has expanded in recent years, with jurisdictions increasingly relying on the expertise and training of code enforcement officers in their communities. And whereas code enforcement officers are dedicated, highly qualified, and highly trained professionals who share the goals of preventing neighborhood deterioration, enhancing communities, ensuring safety, and preserving property values through knowledge, training, and application of housing, zoning, and nuisance laws. And
Whereas code enforcement officers often have a highly visible role in the city of Calexico and regularly interact with the public and a variety of federal, state, county, and local officials in their capacity is code enforcement officers, and
Whereas the city of Calexico wants to recognize and honor the code enforcers, officers that serve our community, acknowledge their role in leading the way to improve quality of life within our community, and
now therefore be it resolved that I, Javier Moreno, Mayor of the City of Calexico, hereby proclaim October 4th to October 10th, 2021 as Code Enforcement Officer Appreciation Week in the City of Calexico, and the City Council calls upon Calexico residents to join in recognizing and expressing their appreciation for the dedication and service by individuals who serve our code enforcement officers. In witness whereof I hereunto affix my signature and official seal of the City of Calexico on the 3rd day of November 2021. So, big clap for the signatures. And I'm going to call Mayra Soto, our code enforcement officer. So thank you what you do every day, every hour, every month, whole year, in the summer, in the winter, when it's raining, when it's not raining. Thank you what you do on behalf of the City Council, on behalf of the City of Calexico residents who we serve. Thank you very much. Thank you. Next presentation is the bi-weekly COVID-19 update presentation.
On this matter, Mayor, members of the council, there's only going to be a brief statement on my behalf for this meeting. As we know, the County Public Health Department, the County Board of Supervisors had a conversation, a discussion about this item 2 Board of Supervisors meetings ago. There was a determination made as it pertains to the mask mandate. That is still going to be restricted for certain areas and populations. What we expect is that in the coming meeting, we can have a more thorough presentation as it pertains to information pertaining to Calexico.
Thank you. We now have announcements. These proceedings may be viewed on the City of Calexico website at calexico.ca.gov on the Friday the following City Council meeting. Community office hours with Mayor Moreno will be held by appointment. Please contact the City Clerk's office at 2102 to schedule an appointment. And I do continue to see residents at my office there. I said before, I'm there from Monday to Fridays, from 8 to 5. So I encourage our citizens who are viewing now tonight to please call and make an appointment. Thank you. Public comments and public appearances. Note, not to exceed 3 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the City Council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. However, if the item you wish to comment is on the consent agenda, please comment now. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphones, please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay City Council meetings with personal or slanderous remarks. The City Council is prohibited by state law from taking any action discussing items not included on the printed agenda. If the item you wish to comment on is on the public portion of the agenda, we will take your comment when we get to the item on the agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment? We don't have a public comment. Thank you. We now go to the City Manager's report.
Yes, and I do want to make a distinction that as part of the public comments, items, and consent, that is the portion of the agenda where they get discussed. With that said, on the City Manager's report, there are a couple of things that I do want to share. Number one being that as the city continues to move forward with the tourist restriction being lifted November 8th, and some of the efforts that the city is doing to address the public demands that we're going to have as a result of this, I do want to announce that we are going, just because there are some certain items that just can't wait until the next regular meeting because they're time sensitive, especially the items pertaining to public transportation. Specifically, I want to reference the bus service that we're looking to provide at the local level. We are ready right now. The Planning and Building Services Department, along with the Calexico Police Department, have vetted and determined that we have current business that wishes to provide such service in our city. In order for this to proceed, once all the documentation has been vetted by staff, this council will have to consider a public necessity and convenience permit for the operation to occur. Therefore, the need to have a special meeting for which I will be providing more details as the days progress, properly letting the council know with ample time. I do also want to note that the proper public noticing will occur for such meeting, just to make sure that we comply with all the requirements of city government. I do briefly, and this is something that that was not on my list, but I think it merits that it doesn't go forgone. Today, in our audience, we have a former employee who dedicated more than 3 decades of his life to service the city, who is now doing the proper civil service and assisting his granddaughter in learning what a city government meeting is all about as part of a school project. And he hates this, and I'm just going to say his name. We won't clap, we won't do nothing. But Mr. Bobby Ortiz is with us today.
Oh, yes.
So with that said, I think it merits that it be noted. And along with that, now moving forward, I want to call up the Chief of Police, Gonzalo Gerardo. He has something very important, special for our community to share with you guys.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Honorable Mayor, City Councilman, ladies and gentlemen, my colegas over there, Fire Department, Police Department, shut up. Peace. Anyways, for anybody who's watching me, I just want to announce that this year we're going to have our 18th annual Kids and Badges. It will be on December 14th, 2021. So save the date, December 14th, 2021. It's a Tuesday. That was the only day that would not interfere with everything that's going on. We already spoke to the school, and it's usually they're finishing up finals, so it's a week before, Tuesday before they go out on their Christmas, or I'm sorry, holiday break. Christmas break, yeah, that's what it is. So it's when they go out to that. So I invite you, if you guys want to, reach deep into your pockets and you want to sponsor one child, it's $100 or $100, I'm sorry. And we can get this going for us. We're already doing fundraising. We've had some really good donations from the Rotaries, Dr. Bowes, I think Walmart, and other people. So if I forget you, I'll bring you up next meeting. I'll have a list. But this is what Sergeant Legaspi, who's the chair of this event at the PD, he's done it for a long time. So he took off with it again. Shop with a Cop last year didn't do it because of COVID, and I understand they're not doing it this year, but we didn't let COVID stop us last year, so we're not going to let COVID stop us now. Thank you.
Mayor, that concludes my city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Prieto. We know to the city council comments and reports of meetings attended. We'll start here on my right. Councilwoman Viola Fernandez, do you have anything to add? Yes.
Good evening. I attended the League of Cities going away recognition for Cheryl Walker for being one of the district's representative. And I also attend the ICTC. And they're still working, as you could see, the roads on 98. And also they give us updates on an Imperial. Hopefully they'll be done by the end of this year on Imperial and El Centro. So there's a lot of projects that are going on that we will be giving you updates on it. But you could always go online and see what they've been doing as well. And also I attended the farm workers event that they had. It was a very good event. It was well attended. And I want to thank Mr. Contreras for the hard work that he did. And also our city staff, planning, and Mr. Figueroa. Also, I've been meeting with the Rotary Club, which is, they want to bring the Mariachi Festival. We're planning to have it on February the 20th, and our goal is not to charge anyone, to be free of charge for our citizens. The Rotary Club is the one that's spearheading it, along with San Diego State, and of course the city, and there's other people there. There's other organizations that are going to be coming on board to assist us with that. Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Continuing with recognizing our employees and the staff, I want to bring up to your attention, I think when people go above and beyond their call of duty or their jobs, it's commendable. So I want to say about October 21st, Mr. Jesse Garcia, who's my commissioner for Parks and Recs, actually put a video on social media where one of our employees by the name of Eduardo Barron, going about his daily duties, he encountered one of our senior citizens that sometimes walk around downtown, and she had a walker, and she was struggling to cross the street. So on this video, you can see Mr. Barron getting out of his pickup with the assistance of also Mr. Garcia, Jesse Garcia. He actually took the time to help this lady cross the street, and it is my understanding that they even helped her, get home. So this is the type of display and work that, again, makes, people special, make us proud. So Mr. Garcia and Mr. Barron, thank you. It's commendable. Appreciate what you do. Then also, as far as events and meetings attended, I have been meeting with numerous, citizens that have either requests, concerns, which have been passed on to the city manager. Then also had a chance to attend a few events for the Celebración de los Muertos over in Mexicali. Here also, yesterday, They had a great event over at the Carmen Durazo, a great exhibit. Then I didn't make that event over at the library. I totally said that I'll stop by next time. My apologies, but it is my understanding that it was very successful. So all of that, makes for, the work that, you do as employees, as public servants, worth it. Then also to finish up, I want to also congratulate our local, football team from the high school. I know that it was the city championship, now named Battle of the Border. It was well attended. I had a chance to be there. I am not going to disclose who I was rooting for, just to be impartial. But it was a great game. So great festivity for people to come out. They came out, and it was a good game. So congratulations to Calexico High School, Bulldogs. Go Bulldogs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Mr. Ureña?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also wanted to comment on the very successful Feria Pa' la Raza that happened on October 28th here in the city of Calexico. I'm not only going to say it was a successful event, it was probably, in this year, one of the most successful events in the county, not just for the hundreds or the hundreds of people that attended, the many families that attended and had fun, but for what it means for our economic outlook moving forward. Out of this one-day event, there were 31 new business licenses that were permitted just for this one event alone. In one day, the city of Calexico made at least, out of my calculation, $1,200 just in new fees. But that's just the short term. That's just the one-day good economic impact that came out of an event like this, with the community coming together. We have to talk about the future economic impact that 31 incubator small and micro businesses, the heightened velocity of money due to new commercial activity, the new potential for these businesses to, in a very near future, become sales tax paying sidewalk businesses that we just approved, or very much in a short term, 1, 2, 3 year future, become established businesses on their own, potentially contributing to the property tax base of the city. At face value, superficially, and in the future, this event is going to have great economic ripples of effects on our city. And I thought I could take a break from helping the community organize successful events, but they did not let me. So they didn't even let me take a breath. We are now organizing, in conjunction with, and with the blessing of El Consulado de México, El Cónsul Titular Francisco Tarcisio Navarrete, we're going to organize a similar event for Día de la Revolución, November 20th. We hope that this is yet another great incubator event for our businesses and a fun time for the entire Calexico Imperial Valley and Mexicali communities, now that it will be after the border is open. We could not be more proud of this achievement. Our planning and finance offices have been saturated with positive economic activity and revenue. We are on the right track to healing business culture in the city of Calexico, and we are doing it in a way that benefits our most vulnerable citizens, those that are most in need of an opportunity to chase the American dream and be independent. I'm also excited for a couple more things in Calexico's economy that are going to pay great fruits to our tax base. I'm excited to see within the coming months the effects that our lowered development fees are going to have for commerce in the city. Many of these businesses that are coming to our events, when they want to establish a businesses, they will absolutely benefit from lower development fees for partitioning big buildings or whatever they need. I'm also very excited for community education programs that our staff is preparing diligently to help the community navigate the business permits, the new ADU opportunities that this council has been diligently working in approving. I'm going to reserve my comments on item number 8. I will just make clear that I want that item to be pulled for discussion. It is very possible that it is not pulled and that we don't have a discussion, but whether it happens here or it happens later, I'm not in favor of the way that is being proposed. And if I'm not given an opportunity to express those reasons right now, I will definitely do so after the city council meeting, and the community will know. So with that, I'd like to thank this council, the city staff, and congratulate everyone on what seems to be a very positive business outlook for the city of Calexico. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Araya. Ms. Romo?
Thank you, Mayor. I am very happy with the results we had with the first Feria para la Raza. Many thanks to Mr. Jose Luis Tadeo Contreras, is here, no? And all the participants. Councilman Raúl Ureña and I met with Consul Dr. Narciso Navarrete to invite him to our next 20 de noviembre event. The response for Consul Navarrete was very positive, and together the consulate and the city will unite for the next event. And yesterday, I was present at 2 events related to the Dia de los Difuntos. In the morning, I attended the event of the Consulate of Mexico in Calexico, and in the afternoon, I attended the event organized by the City of Calexico through the Department of Recreation and Art. Thank you to the Calexico Arts Council for their great support. Thank you very much, Mayor. That's
Thank you, Ms. Romo. As you can see, we're very busy attending a lot of functions throughout the last time we met. I'm really proud to say that I finally have a working city council. I thank Ms. Ureña for spearheading that event, this Dia de la Raza. I know we're working with the other group to do the 20 de noviembre activity. Also, thank you for showing up as the consulates and represent the city under that capacity. Also, Mr. Garcia, I also like to congratulate you that you also were present at the Dia de los Muertos in Mexicali with your lovely wife was also there. It was very, very enlightening to see them there participating in what is a very traditional in Mexico, which has to be a culture here, all Hispanics that live here in the community. And also like to thank for Rosie for being active with the transportation committee and making those reports for us. I really appreciate that. And I understand you still are the vice chair there. So thank you for representing us at that capacity. And what I have to say, just a few words, is that I did attend the CBP monthly meetings that we have with Mr. Figueroa and some members of the public, some members of the community, stakeholders in the community, like the board of supervisors, the consulado here, Calexico, and of course that's the waiting date that we have was discussed on November 8th, which is going to happen this Monday, and we have some activities set up also in Calexico with the downtown merchants, which have a lot of that surplus or that they have to sell. So we're looking forward to that October 9th, the next day. I can tell you one thing is that I'm very, very looking forward to that because it's finally going to bring some relief for our city once they open the border for those essential travelers. They can come over here and non-essential travelers, and so I'm really looking forward for that. They are going to extend the border, the east port of entry hours from 2 a.m. to 10 p.m. In the evening. So hopefully that's going to help us alleviate some of the traffic here on southbound and 111 and also in Cesar Chavez. Having that said, the next item would be the discussion and potential action items. I believe Mr. Ureña had item number 8.
I would like to pull that item from discussion.
discussion
for
number
discussion.
3, 2.
Okay, so just to clarify this, Mr. Ureña had requested to pull item number 8, and it reads like this. Approved resolution of City Council of the City of Calexico approving the city's use of American Rescue Plan Act, also known as the ARPA funds, to provide up to $7,000 per full-time and part-time eligible employees. So what do you propose now?
So
No, Mayor, just for the record, I think you referenced discussion action, but it's consent. It's the
Right.
consent agenda.
So other than that, he doesn't,
Can we have a motion?
we do take comments on consent calendars at the beginning, either from council as a whole or in the public.
Right.
If we want to pull it for a separate discussion, then we take a vote on that.
and that's what I wanted to clarify what we're doing, so I think we have members of the public also that perhaps they want to comment on this?
So
If,
I will make a motion to formally pull 3 and 8 for discussion.
Okay, so we have to vote on that then?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
we
so
need, we need a
anybody second
first
that?
and a second,
second.
Okay, so motion made by Mr. Ureña, second by Ms. Romo.
and the motion would be to pull for separate discussion items number 3 and
3
item,
and 8.
item number 8. Okay.
Number 3?
Number three?
Yes,
Minutes?
minutes,
Fine.
yes,
The minutes
yes.
on number three?
Yeah,
Okay. So that's a different item for that. So we include 3 and 8. So now we're going to vote. And what I like to do is individually get a vote.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we're going to start on this side. Mr. Ureña, how do you vote?
Aye.
How do you
Aye.
vote?
Aye.
I vote no. How do you vote?
Aye.
Okay. So
Discuss
let's
it, you
pass.
want to discuss it? I mean, what is it?
discussion, yes, discussion only.
Okay, so now discussion, right?
So it proceeds, and I think it would make sense if we just follow the order of the numbers.
Okay,
So with that said, that would be item number 3 first.
okay. So, Mr. Ureña? Yes.
Yeah.
The floor is yours, Mr. Ureña. Or you.
Yeah, for me.
Okay.
And this point, number 3, Mr. Figueroa, it's only, I need you clarify or confirm these minutes already published on the web all time, porque no las encuentro.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, the question posed by Councilwoman Romo is if the meeting minutes, once they are approved, if they are posted publicly on our website.
No, ma'am, they have never been posted publicly once they've been signed. They are posted as a draft at this time. We do not post the signed ones. They are available at any point in time for anyone who wishes to request them, and we can provide them to them. It is something we have been trying to get on the website, but we're not quite there yet.
So, Ms. Romo, to elaborate a little more on the city clerk's response, the wish is to make them public. We are working to get to that point where we can publish them.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
No worries.
Okay, that's it. You?
Okay, so that's settled that?
Yes, if there's no further questions and we have any comments, then we could take a
Right, do
motion
we have any comments to the public?
on item
No
number
comment.
3. Okay.
Number 8.
So we're moving on to item 8? Okay, so anybody make a motion to approve number 3?
Number 3, I have motion to approve number
And
3.
second by Mr. Ureña. No discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried, thank you. Okay, Mr. Ureña, number 8?
Number 8. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the opportunity to express my point of view here. I had a whole speech made for this one, but I'm going to just take all the emotion out so we can have a clear, logical, respectful, and professional conversation based on some new facts that the city manager brought forth to the city council on this item that really changed my mind on it. Really, it made me think $7,000 was way too high for 3 particular reasons. And I do say this definitely with the firefighters in attendance, not to say you don't deserve premium pay, but there's equity that we need to look out here for. First of all, Miguel, if I'm not mistaken, there are some jurisdictions and municipalities that are granting payment amounts closer to $1,000 to $3,000. Is this true?
Every jurisdiction has the authority to provide direction as to the amount they desire for premium pay. Premium pay is not an obligation for any city jurisdiction to offer or give. It's a consideration that you folks have, and if you deem appropriate, you offer it like it's been done in this case.
Correct. But other jurisdictions in Imperial County, how much are they offering?
Other jurisdictions are offering different amounts, and they also have different criteria as to who is eligible for it.
Any dollar amount, 2,000, 3,000?
1,000,
I think the county of Imperial, I know Mr. Garcia is an employee, I believe the dollar figure there was $1,000.
Okay.
How much?
1,000,
Each employee?
yes.
In the county? Sure. Oh my goodness.
You have to factor in, if I may, can I elaborate a
Yes,
little more?
yes, of course.
Because it's several.
And I think, Mr. Garcia, please correct me at any point if I am not accurate with my statement. My understanding is that the County of Imperial has over 2,000 employees. I don't want to say a hard number because I'm not sure what that number is, but I do know for a fact that it's over 2,000. If we do some simple math, we can see the investment that's being done by giving them $1,000 each. Here in the city, based on the item that you have before you, the city's looking at an investment of a little over $1 million.
Correct. That is correct. I don't think this is the highest priority for the reason that we don't even know what other municipalities are going to give. I think there is equity that is not being considered here. We had a fight to make sure that part-time employees, municipal employees, were included. But in the course of that, we figured out that all of the temporary people that we hire through Hunter that have no benefits, that are paid minimum wage, the real employees that are doing the hardest work, that are starving, are not eligible for this. This makes it so that we're giving our highest paid employees, our more stable employees, the benefit. The people that have salaries, people like Mr. Figueroa, people like Lily, people like Norma, all of whom I appreciate their work, but this is lower priority to the great need, including affordable housing need, that we could spend this money on. I'm not against premium pay. I am against premium pay right now and in this amount. My second reason, and this is not to stab a wound that was opened months ago, but again, for us to have a professional and logical conversation, I don't think it's fair for this council, who in 6 months prior said the farm workers, the grocery store people, all of Calexico's essential employees, no premium pay for you, no hero pay for you, no hero pay for medical professionals. All of the people of Calexico who have been also working so hard, who have been evicted, who have been out in the cold in the steepest economic recession in American history, we said no to them. So if no to them, why yes to our employees? We said no to the people of Calexico. Why do our employees get something? That was a 3-2 vote. I do have some hard feelings from that, but I bring this up so that we can fix that damage. And to do that, we have to lower the amount so we have some money to spend directly on the biggest needs of this community. And that is why, at this point, I am in definite opposition to $7,000 premium pay for our employees. If anything, we should be looking at technology first. We should be looking at affordable housing first. I appreciate our employees greatly, but we have to be consistent, not just within our employees, but within our employees and the people that we denied hero pay to. For those reasons, I definitely have a no vote on this at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arena. Further discussion, Ms. Romo?
I agree with Mr. Ureña.
Any discussion on this side?
Maybe I'm a little bit lost, Mr. Ureña, but I don't quite understand. Okay, what I understand it, this ARPA is not negotiable, or is it? I mean, if we're gonna, the direction was given to staff, across the line, everybody's gonna get the same. Now, am I missing something here? I know that we have our firefighters here, and, these are, our hospital on wheels. I understand that. We thank you guys for everything, all the hard work you do. Now, did we base ourselves, I mean, if it's like, are we going by category, essential, non-essential, who stayed home, who didn't stay home? There's so many things involved. So, I know it takes time to analyze everything, but I know in the end, I guess kind of what we were told was this was not really negotiable. It was something that we all wanted to. It was up to the staff or city, whoever, to set the amount, isn't it?
Mayor, do you wish, and just, because for clarification to what former Mayor Rosie is asking, do you wish for me to just give a little recap of how this came about?
So we could all have a better understanding.
Right. So certainly that'll clarify a lot more misunderstanding, especially we have the public here, we have our first responders. I think they're entitled to a little bit more explanation.
My next question is to the
Yes.
city attorney. Direction from this came in closed session. How should I proceed to address the comment?
To the extent, if it was information that, confidential information in closed session remains closed session. If it's information that is publicly available, otherwise than that can be disclosed in open session because it's information that's publicly available doesn't become confidential because you discuss it in closed session.
Understood, that's clear. And based on the response from the city attorney, I'll proceed to answer Ms. Fernandez.
Go ahead.
ARPA guidelines were issued during the city quarterly budget presentations. We have been bringing up ARPA as it pertains to the allocation that the city of Calexico received. City of Calexico received the first installment of 2 that the federal government issued to the city of Calexico. With that said, there's been one item that was brought before you as it pertains to an eligible activity under ARPA, which is fleet replacement for public safety departments. You folks took action on that, and at this point right now, as a matter of fact, if the police chief is here, I executed a document that's going to streamline the process to secure the vehicles for PD from that purchase. And previous to that, about 3 weeks ago, I did the same thing with Chief Diego Favila for the fire fleet that's going to be purchased. The second item that was brought to your attention was the consideration of premium pay. Premium pay, again, is an eligible activity that you folks can determine to offer. If you folks recall also, a resolution was brought before you in which this council approved the resolution determining that essential workers were deemed to be those that are full-time and part-time workers for the city of Calexico. In order for premium pay to be considered, there has to be first a resolution that defines who's an essential worker. That was done, so we checked that box. Moving forward, what proceeded was determining the dollar amount that would be allocated for premium pay holistically. That number came out to be $1 million to be consistent with the other activities that this council has directed us as staff to look into and fund and appropriate the monies to. Considering the item before you, considering the previous item that's been approved already, that would still leave the city council with a little over $5 million to expend on the other eligible activities that this council deems appropriate to address the needs that we have in our city. Again, all this based on what ARPA allows.
Mr. Figueroa, I think just to more directly address what Rosie was asking, because I think I know where she got tangled up. So, and just to be very, very clear, this is not for all city employees. This does not include our temporary hunter employees that cut grass, that clean our streets.
It's for full-time and part-time city employees. The temporary employees that we go and secure their valuable services through 2 staffing agencies, they are not employees of the city. They are employed by the staffing agencies for which they provide a service to the city, but with whom we pay that service to is to the employment agencies, not directly the individual.
Yes, so they are not included. And then the second point that I'm making to council is that 6 months ago, we decided that the people of Calexico did not deserve premium pay. Farm workers, grocery store workers, medical professionals who also got infected, worked tirelessly couple months ago, when at the height of the pandemic, when we were all dying, we told the people of Calexico, when people were getting evicted, we told the people of Calexico, no hero pay for you. That was a 3-2 vote. That's the other people that this is not fair to. And that is the substance of my argument, is point one, the temporary employees, and point two, the people of Calexico. We denied hero pay to.
So, and just to complement my statement, which will address some of the items you raised, Councilman Ureña, the direction at your discretion that was provided by staff, to staff, was to present the item before you today.
Correct.
At the end of the day, this council has the authority to determine in what direction you wish to go with the ARPA money. What you have before you is an item that was instructed for us to prepare for you.
Correct. I would like to make a motion to table and rediscuss this item.
Second.
Sir, I have a speaker on this item.
Okay, but we have a motion first, right?
Oh, no, the
Discussion
speaker
or
first.
discussion?
Yeah, but we should take speakers before moving on the motion, but we do have a first and a second. That's what I heard.
Mr. David Garcias.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes, yes, this is David Garcias. I'm the, I work for NCIU Local 221, representing the water operators. And I just wanted to say, in my experience, we've been negotiating with many different cities. Some cities have been as high as 10,000. Some cities have been as low as 1,000. Some have been around 5,000. One of the cities I just negotiated in Imperial Beach, which is a similar size to Calexico, they gave 5,000 to each employee that worked during the pandemic. And I just want to say, do you really want to do a race downwards? Do you really want to say, okay, it's okay to drive it downwards instead of doing more for others as well, because these workers got sick during the pandemic. They came in and made sure that the public services for this city continued to operate. They put their lives on the line while we got to stay at home. While many of us got to stay at home because of the stay-at-home order, but these workers who were essential workers, they had to come in and they had to expose themselves, and not only themselves, but they had to expose their families. Their families, you know, I had stories of workers who, when they got home, they had to strip and take a shower before they could even see their children or see their families, because they had to go out there and continue to man the operations of this city. So I hope you can take that into consideration. You know, rather than taking a step backwards, you are doing what other cities are doing and finding a way to celebrate the work that your essential workers did to keep your citizens safe and keep the community moving forward during this horrible pandemic we spent 1.5 years on. So I hope that you can pass item 8, and the city workers, I know the workers represented by SCIU 221 would much appreciate this, as their sacrifice was a lot, and I believe it is equal to what other cities are giving to their essential workers. Thank you very much.
Mayor, at this time, I think out of respect, to see if there's any speakers in the audience, at this time, there would be the time for them to come up.
Does anybody in the public want to speak?
Thank you very much.
Chief Gerardo wants to
Okay.
speak up.
Good afternoon, good evening again. Wow, what a way to end my career. It's not so much about me also, but it's about me trying to recruit people to be police officers in the city of Calexico. When you don't take care of your employees first, it's like taking care of your children first. You're gonna see your children leave you. you're going to see your employees leave. I already have people that are on the point, on the verge of leaving Calexico, and I can't hire people fast enough to come work for me. I have talked to Mr. Figueroa in the past, and HR, Denise, and Carla, I'm trying to figure out how I can give bonuses to bring in officers to apply in Calexico. The number that I have told Mr. Figueroa was, I think we should give our new applicants $10,000 bonus. We'll give them $5,000 the first year, and then if they stick around for 18 months total, we'll give them the additional $5,000. This is what every other city in the United States, especially in California, is doing to try to attract people. The city of Imperial, and I just confirmed it right now with my colleague over there, they paid 10% across their base salary, okay? Which is actually, I thought I would have gone upset if they would have done that. I saw the plan that the city did, and I figured they want to be fair across the board with everybody. Everybody gets the same amount, even though some people were more exposed than others. Some people got sick, some people didn't. But you know what? As a city, you show your appreciation to your employees that come in and work shorthanded, day in, day out. We make those downtown events happen in 4 days. We do a lot of things right now because we want our community to see that we can pull together and make things happen. You decide not to give this to my officers, my colleagues here today. They might do their job, but they're not going to do it happy, and they're going to do it just to do it because that's how they are. They're not going to be happy. They're not going to go out of their way. They're not going to come out here and do stuff like that. How am I going to be able to attract somebody to replace me if they see that you can't treat your employees right? How am I going to attract future people from the city that are going to be leaving? Why the city does it? We've always put the burden on our officers, our firefighters, our CMEA, our staff. These people, a lot of them have not had raises. A lot of people made a lot of sacrifices 3, 4, 5 years ago. This money, the city got it from the government. This money was the government's way of saying, hey, you know what? You guys did a good job. We appreciate you. We're going to let it up to your city management to decide how much they're going to give you. The rumor was at the beginning that we were going to get $25,000. That's a lot of money, okay? It's a lot of money, and yeah, you might think so, but when you wear this uniform, when you're out there serving the public, then you start, I made a mistake at the beginning of my career that I didn't put a value on my career, in my life. And one of the things is we are valuable, guys. We are valuable just like everybody else. You say people putting food on our table. Well, I appreciate them do that. And you know what? They did get money. They got all the stimulus checks. I did not get one stimulus check. Yeah, because I make a lot of money, so we're not going to give you stimulus. Guess what? I did pay more taxes than anybody else. I paid 32% of my gross income goes to taxes. And I pay taxes on everything I buy. So just because I make a lot of money, if you look at my net, is a lot less than what my gross is. Take out 32% across the board and everything else I pay taxes. These people, your employees, you have to be loyal to your employees in order for your employees to be loyal to you. Simple as that. You're not loyal to me, guess what? I'm not going to be loyal to you. And I don't know if they're afraid to speak up, but it's okay. They have a career that they're starting. They don't want to be blackballed. I just ask you, don't look at it as we're taking money out of your pocket, because that money was never in our city pockets anyways. It was something that was given to us, and it's something that the government has regulated. If we knew we couldn't do this legally, Ms. Lobatos and the city manager and our city attorneys would have never brought this up. If City Imperial, 10% across the board to everybody. Everybody. 100 employees, yeah, you know what, I appreciate them, but they got money. And they got more breaks than we all did. A lot of these people never came back because they're still getting government handouts. The work's here, they don't want to come to work. So their employer most likely kind of gave them some sort of compensation because they made a lot of money off the city. So please consider it, there's more money that's gonna be available for the city to use on other things. But doing this right now, I don't think it's right. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Anybody else? Oh, we got, Mr. Ardo, thank you. Okay.
Good evening, Honorable Council. I will be doing a disservice to my staff if I don't speak for them right now. They're not here. I have one of them working in senior services right now with children. So here I am trying for you to consider this. Aside from any one of us leading the departments getting anything, our budgets were significantly cut last year. We lost most of the temp staffs in every department because it was cut. And we got the same amounts this year. Our staff had to work, had to show up, had to do services by themselves without the extra help. I only think that it is a due justice to them to get something back. I understand the points, Councilman Ureña, and I do understand. The only thing that I can say about the hero pay and the other points that you brought up is that would cause a hardship to the business owners back then. In this case, it is not causing a hardship to the community or business owners. This has been brought by the government to offset some of the monies that we didn't get. Thank you very much for the attention.
Thank you, Mr. Ardo. Anybody else? No? Oh, one person. Good evening.
My name is Oscar Pesquera. I've been with the Calexico Fire Department for close to 25 years already. Great points on our farmers, our city merchants. The fact is, we've gone on them when they're sick, when they get hurt. We just had a fire downtown. We're trying our best out there, day in, day out, over and over. During the pandemic, we had about almost 1,100, if not more, positive, and we were exposed to over 1,100 that we were exposed. And I know some people out there are thinking, well, that's your job. But that's the job that only a few signed up to. You know, when I first applied, like the chief said, I was competing against 200 plus. Currently, we only have 12 that are applying here. Why do you think? Let's think about that. I'm not saying nobody here is not important during the pandemic. Every single person was, and is. But we've been exposed a lot more. We took it home. We took it to our families. Some of us were here 48 hours, 72, 5 days at a time during that time. The chief is correct. There's cities out there that it's a lot more. Some cities have voted that just fire and police get this. Now, I personally don't think that's right. I think every single person out there should. But the fact is, we work for the city. We're the ones who are here. I can appreciate the farmers. They do bring the food to our tables, but they don't work directly for the city. Even though they don't, we still go out there and provide our services day in, day out. We've been having a team of 4 to 5 people out there pulling surveillance to make sure that these fires stop during this time. We're out there. Please, just take it into consideration. Thank you very much, Howard.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Somebody else? Okay.
I think there was Was there a motion?
I do have discussion on that motion.
But we're still in discussion. I'd like to say something.
Oh, go ahead,
Yeah,
but
before
I still do
well,
have a
actually,
response.
Ms. Arregla Fernandez said something. I believe you said something, and you said something.
Right, but
Right.
now we're discussing the motion on the table.
Right, that's, yeah, right. Let me just
Yeah.
finish. I think Mr. Camilo, I'm gonna give you the opportunity if he
Go
wants to
ahead,
say
you
something.
first.
Okay, I'll say it. It just reaffirms my belief, like, and I get it, chief, I get it, I get law enforcement. I did that for 32 years, okay? I get that. There's no words I can explain that justifies 7,000, 20,000. I wish I can get more, okay, which I can. I think you deserve more. So we're at this juncture right now where I'm ready to cast my vote. Okay, I know what I have to do. Okay, I'm in support of this. I'm in support of law enforcement, first responders, support of everybody. That just refers my belief. We're all big family here, and it's and so I'll just leave it at that, Mr. Garcia.
Sure. You know, one of the things that I always say, and I have been quoted, that, you know, by far our most important asset, at least here at the city, in any agency that is tasked to provide services, it's, you know, the human capital. So the human capital, and I think it has been very well put, you know, by our staff, you know, that what they do, and we know what you do. In fact, if we could, you know, we could, we could give each and every one of you more. And I said more, and I think Rosie alluded to across the board. We will give you more, but I think that's something that, you know, it's on the table. Due diligence was done. You know, this was not just pulled out of a hat. You know, we do have this opportunity to give something back to you. We appreciate what you do, right? I understand the risk of some of you is higher, and maybe that should be taken into consideration. But at this point, we want to be fair. And maybe that's something that you might not resonate with you because you might think that this is not fair. But I do agree with what's on the table. I think we should share this, you know, benefit of some of these monies. I know that for the longest time, this city has been asked, not city, but you have been asked to sacrifice. So this is the time, one of the few times, rare time that we have where we can give you something back. Maybe it's not what you know that you deserve, and I understand that. But I think it's something for all of you. And I truly appreciate that. I truly appreciate what you do. Again, I hope that you take it as a token of appreciation. Yes, you know, we can go back and forth whether it's fair or not. But it's something that it's there, it's a one time. So one time we want to share it with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. We have public comment?
Yes, sir, we had a person on chat, Lorena Minor.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Lorena Minor Montes. I am the president of the Calexico Municipal Employee Association. First of all, I want to thank the council members that are for this item. I'm really appreciative of what the council has decided to do for the city employees as a whole. However, Mr. Ureña, this will be towards you. These members you are talking about are part of my membership. I fight for them continuously all the time because they are part-time employees and have no benefits. You know why, and you don't have to answer me, but I'm telling you, you know why these people are part-timers through a consultant agency? Because of you, the council. It's the council's fault, not anyone else's. These are apples and oranges. Like everyone has said constantly, this money is from the state. Some people will be getting up to $25,000. I am very, very disappointed in your comments. Who are the people that took care of your carnival this last week? Who put it together? You say that they brought the city over $1,000, but how much money did it cost in labor time for the members of my membership? These people are very appreciative for the job they have, and yes, they want a full-time job. It's up to you as a council member to give them a full-time job, but this is not the time. This is a time to compensate the employees that are working double, triple the time. I myself are one of those people that were spoken about. I was down closing businesses who were non-essential when the pandemic started. My kids were homeschooling, and you know what? They would come with a towel to the front door and cover me from the public or from the street because I had to strip down to come inside my house. I'm very disappointed, Mr. Ureña. This is the moment where you need to back us up as employees and fight for the part-time employees at a different discussion. Thank you very much.
I will take time to discuss the motion, if I may, Mr. Mayor.
So you want to move, change your motion?
No, I want to discuss the motion that I made.
Okay.
Just very briefly, and within this, I'll address some of the factual comments that were made by all of the employees, but first I will make very clear that the constituents that I have are not the employees of the city. The constituents that I have are the people of the city, a lot of whom, not all, are citizens of Calexico. And I'll start with some advice on labor organizing for the unions that I am fighting for you, and where some misunderstandings are occurring. I know why you are defensive about me being against this one-time money. But I will remind you that I'm the only one up here who's talked about raising your salaries and benefits. I want you to have the permanent piece of the pie. And the only way that can happen is if we make the right investments with this money so we can come back and hire staff, move people from part to full-time, and get you the higher benefits and salaries permanently that you deserve. Instead of fighting against the farm workers, which I will say, and I will address Mr. Gerardo's comments, of course it's legal for us to do this, but it's also legal for us to use this money for 1,000 other ways. And you know what's one way that we could use this money for? Is to give money to the essential employees directly of the city, to give money to the grocery workers that we denied, that fed us, that got sick, to the farm workers that got more sick than police officers, had the highest death rate than anyone sitting in this room, that kept us fed through this pandemic. We could use the same $1 million that we're going to give to you that are sitting on a comfortable salary, we could give it to the people that fed you. That's the kind of fairness that's not fair. And it's not because I want to. I want to give you the permanent raise in salary. These people don't. And I'm not talking about these three or these four. I'm talking about the councilwoman that has been here for 4 years. Her and her friends have been the administrations that have denied you of salaries and benefits that were a part of that cut. So you guys need to focus on getting your salaries and benefits up. This one-time money is gonna come. We're gonna. If you want to win this fight, you can win this fight. But they're gonna use this to make sure that you don't get a permanent increase in salaries and benefits. If I were you, I would join forces with the farm workers to make sure that everybody gets money, because this money is supposed to be for everyone. It's not just for city employees. This money can be used for all essential workers. And if we denied the people that fed us, why are we giving our higher paid employees something? There has to be some kind of equality. I'm more than happy to give, but only if it's fair. And secondly, of the hero pay, Ms. Norma Gerardo said that this was cause a hardship on small business. That is not true. This was a point of discussion. Hero pay was for businesses with 25 employees or more. There is almost zero small business in the city of Calexico that has more than 25 employees. It would have affected Walmart. It would have affected Jack in the Box, Cardenas, all of these multi-million-dollar corporations. It would have affected them. It would have made them pay their employees. But now, that's not available anymore because of that misinformation. So I want to fight for all of you, but I want to put into focus what you should be fighting for. This one-time payment comes and goes. fight and join forces with all the people who have been mistreated by this council and previous councils, and fight for your permanent salaries and benefits, fight for the working conditions that we have denied you, the moldy buildings that you have to work out of, the phony trucks that we have to keep in the shop every other day. Those are the things you need to be fighting for, and not just when this money comes available, but every single day. I want to see firefighters here because it's an injustice, and because the city is going to recover. This is $1 million. What about the $800,000 that are going to come in revenue when the border opens? If you're going to fight me on this, I want to make sure all of you are here fighting for yourselves, with the farm workers, with every employee, with every worker in this city, at our doorstep at every single meeting, because this is not the only money that's going to be here. But I have to make a decision whether it's going to be to city employees or farm workers, grocery store workers, affordable housing, parks, and all the other things that we could do with this money. And that is why I don't want this right now. It is not fair. If we can make this fair, more than happy. But as it stands, it is not fair.
Ms. Ureña, I believe Parliament wanted to say something. Yeah, they don't?
Yeah, we're good. Go ahead.
He's done.
Fire Department for 4 years.
Just get close to the mic.
I've been in the
Yeah,
Calexico
thank you.
Fire Department for 4 years now, and I guess when I'm hearing it, just like studying up on what the ARPA money was, there are certain guidelines that can be met with that. That you get, obviously, the city gets audited automatically after so much and everything like that. But the money guidelines, and totally agree that the farm workers, should get the respect that they deserve, but there are guidelines that the federal money gives that the city has to follow, and those aren't in the guidelines to directly give the money or anything like that. They are in the guidelines to give the city employees some money, and max was $13 per hour to a max of 25 grand. It's all on the internet. Anybody can research it and go look at how the cities can disperse the money. And like I said, different cities here are doing it differently. We've already kind of gone over that, but I guess just respectfully into that argument is that that's not within the guidelines to be able to use the money in that fashion, at least from what I've read on it. So, and then also consideration the departments that were lower staffed, that we were required by the state to up our staff to full time. We didn't have the personnel, so that required everybody to work overtime. Me personally, and other people worked more than me, and I worked almost 200 days last year, 24-hour shifts. Police did the same. Many city employees did, came in when they couldn't. Their kids had to stay home, and so they had to provide for sitters. They had to provide everything like that. It was a lot more stress upon a lot of the people in society to come in and to have to stay home. That's part of our job. We come in, but it's the allocation, the guidelines from the feds that the money. This is an avenue that we can take, and it would greatly benefit the city if it came to our way. But. And another thing with Susie,
Rosie.
I'm sorry, Rosie. I'm going on a little sleep right now. I believe that it should be looked into. Everybody was important, 100%. Everybody was important to come here. But were others that, again, our department alone, 1,100 contacts with COVID positive patients. 1,100. I think 80% of our department got it. But that's a risk. That's a job we sign up for. We get that. But in this instance, it is money, again, not the cities, it's from the feds. And this is an allocation, an avenue that can be taken, and I think it would be greatly appreciated by a lot of the employees to be able to do that. So, that's all I was saying.
All right, thank you. So we're going to vote on it?
Mayor.
Yeah, we do have a first and a second to table this item, so
Right.
that's the motion on the table. So if deliberation is done on that, we can take a
Okay,
motion.
so the motion
One
is to
more
table
question.
this item, so we need to vote on it.
But one more question for Figueroa. Just to clarify, is it within the ARPA guidelines for us to give a stipend or a stimulus to non-city employees?
There are other programs that ARPA allows that can be considered, but just like staff and I have reviewed, assessed, based on anecdotal information that other cities are doing. These are things that need to be closely vetted. And we have the luxury of determining how it is that we make those programs. Ms. Lovato, do you want to say something?
Good evening, council members. Just to touch on that, there's definitely some guidelines. There's still interim guidelines, but if there's something that you would like for us to look into, I can definitely look into it. I've been looking at absolutely every webinar. Anytime there's any change in guidelines, I look at it, I review them. I can tell you almost weekly. As the firefighters mentioned, there are guidelines. We could pay up to $13 an hour, and the maximum is $26,000 per year. Again, I have looked at all of this. There's actually some more guidelines, even within the $26,000.
No, but the question was, outside of city employees.
Outside of city employees.
You've done some research on that as well.
I've done some research. There is some hero pay that could be paid. There are, again, some grants that could be looked into. We could set up a grant. There are some guidelines that would have to be set up for hero pay, but there's definitely something that could be done. Again, if there's something that you wish for me to look into, I can definitely do that. You can just direct the city manager of what it is that you would like for us to do, and I can definitely look into it. Again, these rules change continuously. Sometimes there's a little bit more detail added to it. I'm subscribed to anything that comes out. These are federal rules. Again, this will be audited. We just received half of the money in July. The next half will be received the next July. So again, we have time. We can look into it. They're very specific as to how the money can be used. But definitely, if there's something that you have concerns or you have interest in us looking into it, I can definitely do that. Just let the city manager know, and I'll be more than happy to do it. And if there's any concern on this item, again, you can ask me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Aside from that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lovato.
Aside from that, the reason I wanted to give a recap of ARPA was so we could put into perspective the city allocation and that there's multiple eligible uses, but the allocation that we received is not going to be suffice to address all the needs that we have. And we know that. That's why we're going to be put in a position in which we need to prioritize. The reason why premium pay was brought forth is because based on the direction that council has given us, at least under my watch in the past budget process, it was always made clear to me and my staff that looking out for employees was something that once monies became available, we should consider. So with that, Mayor, that concludes our part here.
Thank you.
So the original motion is to table it.
Table and rediscuss.
Okay, then you second it.
Second.
So now we're gonna vote. How do you vote, Mr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
How do you vote? I vote no?
No.
How do you vote? No. Okay, so it didn't pass, correct? Yeah.
Correct. So now the floor is open for another motion.
Okay, so, does anybody want to make a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Garcia. Anybody second that? I'll second that. All those in favor?
No.
Aye?
No.
Aye.
So 3 against 2, thank you. Motion passes. All right, moving on.
Mayor, if I may, I think when the item was raised by Council Member Ureña to bring forth items 3 and 8 that was seconded by Councilwoman Romo to be discussed, we did not approve the rest of the consent items. So at this time, I would please want you to consider approving the other consent items. And within that motion, I would want to clarify that before you, you have 2 minor revisions that were made to item number 7. These revisions are grammatical, and they are a correction to the year that should be reflected. It doesn't change the essence of the agreement, which already has been vetted multiple times.
Okay.
So with that said, if there's a motion to approve items 4, 5, 6, and 7, item 7 including the revisions that I just explained.
Thank you, Mr. Figueroa. Did anybody make a motion on that?
Motion for approval.
Motion for approval, Mr. Garcia. Anybody second it?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ariola Fernandez. No discussion. All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Ms. Araya?
Aye.
Okay, 5-0, okay, passes. Thank you, Mr. Figueroa. We have item number 9.
Yes, I'll be calling up, I'm sorry, it's been a lengthy start to our meeting. I would like to call up our Public Works Admin Manager, Ms. Lily Falomir. Before Ms. Falomir gets here, I'll introduce the item. This is an item that relates to a discussion that was had in previous meetings in which we already had gone through the procurement process for this project. Given some circumstances that were flagged by our legal department, it was determined that we would go and initiate the procurement process once again. That is why you have this item before you. I do also want to touch on some inquiries that the council had as it pertains to this item. I do want to point out that, as you folks know, this item pertains to the repairs of the taxiway at the Calexico International Airport. Lily and Mr. Arguelles, who leads the operations of the Calexico Airport, notified me that it's been quite some time since the last repair was done. The last repair was done in 2004. One of the things that has been done is that there actually has been an assessment that was done to make sure the need to repair the taxiway. The need turned out to be extremely high. I also want to point out that given that this is a grant that will fully fund, there is no city contribution, it will fully fund this project, there are also other monies that in the past have been used to address other issues at the airport. Not that this item was not important, there were just some other priority items that had to get addressed. So now is the time for this item. With that said, Lily, please fill in where I may have left something out.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. As Mr. Figueroa mentioned, the Calexico International Airport received a grant from the Federal Aviation Administration for $4.2 million to rehab our taxiway. As Mr. Figueroa mentioned, last time we did a slurry seal of the taxiway was back in 2004. The pavement index does stipulate that it is low, so that therefore we need to rehab our taxiway. And as I mentioned, we were able to get the $4.2 million grant, 100% no local match. So we went out and we requested bids. 3 bidders came in, and the lowest was Pyramid Construction in aggregate. Therefore, we're here in front of you to request to award the bid to Pyramid Construction in the amount of $3.1 million.
Okay, discussion here?
Just a couple of questions, Ms. Falomir. So the taxiway, while it's under repairs, excuse my ignorance, the airport still will be usable, right, or not?
There will be some days that we would need to close down for repairs, but we will be open 90% of the time during construction.
Okay, and the timeline is until 2022 for completion?
Yes, yes. I believe it's about 6 months. I'm sorry, about 8 months for repairs. But we did leave a break because the flights come in. The majority, they start in October.
I'm really excited about this opportunity that we have to make some improvements, because one of the things that we have done also in part of our strategic planning is that that the airport being an asset that we have, and I think this work that is being done will actually make that possible to a certain extent. But also what I want to see is perhaps a presentation by the developer, or by the contractor, whoever's doing this work, if this goes through, so we can see, we can have a vision, we can have timelines, just like we have had all the projects come before us for presentation and for the public to know also. And then on top of that, what I would like to see is some sort of, that has been discussed also previously, some sort of plan for marketing. Miguel, I think this goes to you also, for marketing and for just to make sure that we start bringing activity, that we start advertising our airport, and reviving that area, much needed area that it needs. So if you can just look into making sure that we have a presentation.
Yes, if this item is awarded, typically what we do is if the item is awarded, we have our pre-construction meeting with the contractor, and then therefore we set a schedule. So once we have the schedule, I can bring back like an informational item, so you guys can see when we'll be beginning and by when we'll be finishing it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody
Ms.
else?
Palomino, yes. When was the last time the airport runway was repaired?
The runway, there's two. There's the runway and there's the taxiway. The
Ah,
runway,
yeah.
it was probably about 4 years ago.
4 years?
Yes, so now we're doing the taxiway, which is, the taxiway is located on the south portion of the airport.
It's very expensive. $3 million. Okay, that's
You're
okay.
done? Okay. Ms. Garcia, go ahead. She's done.
No, you're not. And that's not so much that, again, we look at these numbers, right? But, there are things that, again, I'm not an expert, but, based on the bid and based on the due diligence that was done, so going back to just wanted to know what's, and it's here on the backup also, what's going to be replaced from fencing to lighting
Yes, it's
to all
fenced.
of that. And I know that, actually flown into the airport a few times, I know there's a lot of work that needs to be done, including the lighting. People that know and that fly, they can tell. They can tell that it needs a lot of work, by experts, by, fly instructors. So I think this will be something that, it's badly needed, so.
Yeah, all the work that is being proposed is through the FAA standards and guidelines.
Just one more thing. What about the fuel concession? How is that negotiated? I know this is not part of this item, but maybe looking into that, because I know we're given some sort of report on the concession, the fuel concession or sale, the hangars that we have also that all are taken. But for some reason, I have seen less and less, airplanes. At one point, I used to see airplanes, park, on the tarmac, but, they have disappeared. So, again, I don't know if that's part of the revival, and that's what I'm hoping, that we can have more activity. I know that, building more hangars is a little bit expensive, but just having a strategy, again, putting this together as part of a revival for that area and part of our economic, strategy that we keep talking about. So this is part of the holistic approach that, Miguel has alluded to earlier in different things. So again, I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to a presentation, if approved, this item. So that's my comments. Thank you, Mayor.
Just, Mayor Pro Tem, the rest of the council, I do want to point out that currently, we do have a fence repair in the works.
Yes.
And I was informed also that within 2 weeks, now we have a little bit more concrete information. Within 2 weeks, it's going to be repaired. There was a back order on the material, but within 2 weeks, it's going to get done.
All right, thank you. So I need a motion to approve item 9.
Made a motion to approve item 9?
Second by, okay. All those in favor? Aye.
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 All motion carried 5-0. Thank you. Item number 10, Mr. Figueroa.
Yes, for this item, I took the luxury of inviting someone who has been instrumental in assisting us to get to the point where we're at, where we're talking about securing regulatory permits for the New River project for an investment of $28 million. And this investment is going to begin to be reflected in a couple of months. So with that, I want to introduce our project manager, Mr. Jose Angel, to give us a presentation on this item.
Mayor Moreno, honorable members of the council, councilor, Madam Clerk, City Manager, good evening.
Thank you.
Members
Good
of the
evening.
audience. I want to leave you with this message, if you don't pay attention to anything else, that what once was a concept, then turned into plans and specifications, is becoming a reality. And within a matter of about 3-4 months, we're going to start shoveling dirt. So that's a compliment to you for your resilience, not giving up on what I think is right for the people, not just in Calexico, but in the region. So I'm going to dispense with some of the background and just bring you up to speed and put in context the items before you. The item before you is an amendment to an existing contract that the council awarded to Panorama, who's one of the consultants that is helping us obtain the regulatory permits. I can tell you we would not be where we are right now without their valuable assistance, their dedication. So more credit also to you for your guidance and continued support on the project. I'm going to just briefly highlight where we've been and where we are. But my message to you respectfully is that congratulations, we turned the corner. We're going to get all the required pre-construction permits by January 10th. That's the date that the feds have given us, and also the state. Probably a little before on the state side, but the Army Corps of Engineers is set to issue the permit for the project, and that's a biggie by January 10th. So, is it this one? Okay, I went too fast. Some of you know that actually the concept to basically reroute the polluted river around city came from Calexico, and it goes back longer than I think I want to admit, but it was Celeste Cantu who used to work for the city as a planner, who originally came with that concept that we're going to pipe the river, Right. And Mexicali got ahead of you, so they piped the river through the metropolitan area. So it remained a concept at a concept level until then Assemblyman Perez, who used to represent the district, introduced legislation that became law that basically required the state to develop a strategic plan for the new river from the beginning all the way to the Salton Sea. So this is just the beginning as far as the state is concerned, to address what has always been a calamity, particularly here in the city, because of the extent of pollution of the new river. So the concept for the project in Calexico was codified in the strategic plan for the new river, which Cali PA released in 2011. So we're almost 10 years, and you know what? We didn't have a champion. We didn't have money. Fortunately, the state said, even though we view this as a federal responsibility, we're not going to wait till the federal government gets its act together. I'm going to start putting money to protect our citizens. So the State Water Resources Control Board in 2016 allocated $1.4 million to develop the plans and specifications for the project. It also enabled you to take the draft CEQA documentation and act on it in 2020. But that was the start. That seen money, and then you have another champion who was Assemblyman Garcia, who managed to persuade the Hispanic caucus and his colleague across, Senator Ben West on the other side, to allocate the $10 million for the project. We didn't know, at that time, we didn't know what the price tag was going to be on the project. So as it turns out, there were another $18 million needed. So please bear this in mind. In spite of the pandemic, the governor and the legislature stepped to the plate and said, we're gonna come up with that money so that public health be protected in the area. And that's how we ended up with you as the lead for the project. So in 2020, you adopted the mitigated negative declaration for the project. And then we started real negotiations early this year with the Department of Water Resources, who became the administrator of the funds, the $28 million. And the city finalized its contract with DWR in late April of this year, early May. That's when the contract for the $28 million was executed. And it spells what the city needs to do, the obligations for the city, how the funds are supposed to be administered. But also there's a lot of transparency and requirements, as you know, when you get a grant from any federal agency. There are a lot of monitoring requirements and all that. I'm pleased to report to you that the city is in full compliance with the grant provisions when it comes down to reporting, its due diligence. And again, we want to thank you for your continued support on the project. We come before you sometimes with items, because aside from the transparency, you have been instrumental in providing direction and certainly political support for this project. So we're very grateful about that. This just kind of highlights the major components of the project. There's three major components. The first one is putting a trash screen to take out the trash that we get from the other side of the border. And then we're going to build a diversion structure to basically put the river underground, the average flows that come from Mexico, and put it underground in a 72-inch pipe and reroute them all the way around the city where the new river, to the point where the new river crosses the Old American Canal siphon. So at the other end of the city, at the western end of the city. Now, ordinarily, if we just do that, that section of the river would be dry, but we want to put clean water in the river, water that meets federal standards. That's treated wastewater from the city of Calexico wastewater treatment plant. That's water that is disinfected. It's not drinking water, but it's water that is considered suitable for contact. So we're turning what is arguably a calamity and a great threat to public health into what it an asset that is going to complement the other work that you're doing on the other side of the river, which is the River Parkway. Except that Miguel got a little bit ahead of ourselves with the River Parkway, but we're going to catch up pretty quickly. So those are the major components of the project. Let's see what this is. And this kind of sums up where we've been. You know, we had some very, very detailed negotiations with the Department of Water Resources. We wanted to make sure that you ended up with an agreement that we could live by, but more importantly, we can comply with about the disposition of the $20 million. So in March, we started negotiations on all the pre-construction permits. Some of these permits take up to a year. We managed somehow to shorten a little bit the time frame to get some of these permits. This just gives you an idea of all the permits that we require. Mainly permits from the federal government. The bigger one is from the Army Corps of Engineers. This is a first for them. They never dealt with a project where you're just taking the entire flow of a river and put it underground. So we had some very, I want to put it professional, some very detailed discussions, somewhat protracted. But I'm pleased to report that during the last 2 months, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We have made significant progress, and we've had commitment from the Army Corps of Engineers to give us the permit by January 10th of next year. So that puts the discussion into concept, plans and specifications, permits, and construction. You recently gave the green light to the staff to award the contract for construction management also. So Ms. Falomir, who's back there, sent a letter this Monday awarding the contract. I want to say a word about her, I know, because she's rather modest. But I can tell you, talk about dedication, you know, because she has been more than a right arm to me, instrumental, not just in helping me with some of the managing aspects of the project, but also guiding me through your procedures. I know she does it pretty quietly, but she's been more than a right arm, you know, and I want to thank her for that. So there's still some things that we need to get done to get there, but this sums up basically all the key permits that we're getting. I do want to bring to your attention that we've been in discussions and with the folks from Homeland Security, namely Border Patrol. We have had, Miguel has participated in at least 3 meetings, and I have participated in about 6 meetings where we're trying to address, obviously, the recommendations and concerns. And as you probably know, they deal with more like Homeland Security issues, but they're not forgotten. We do need their consent, but I'm pleased to report that they're very enthusiastic about this project. They also see a benefit also to their agents that are out there on a daily basis, making it safer for them too. So that's kind of where we are. Now, again, there's still a lot of things that need to happen between now and February, early March to get this thing. We are preparing what is called a monitoring adaptive management plan for the Army Corps of Engineers. That's why we need your support on this amendment. They make it a requirement for issuing the permit. And that basically tells you there's a little bit of, from their side, a little bit of uncertainty on potential impacts on the vegetation out there, namely. And what we're saying, okay, we understand your concern, but why don't we do this? Let's monitor to see whether there's actual impact, and we can adjust as the project is being implemented. That's what the fancy words mean, okay? It's monitor and adapt and modify as needed. So we expect to complete it early by December and submit it to the Army Corps so they stay on track with their permit by January 10. So you also have an RFP out there, I understand, for contracting city engineering services. One of the first things that we need is for the city to provide us comments on the plans and specifications. I mean the city engineer, okay? So that's in the works. And bringing the item, issuing a task order to the original author of the plans and specifications, who was Michael Baker International. So once we get the comments from the city engineer, we already have comments from other agencies, they can finalize the plans for construction purposes, and then we would go to bid. So if everything goes well, and I'm hoping that everything goes well because everything now is going well, so that we can go to bid the end of January, early February. So that's exciting news. So what once was a concept and a dream for some people is now a reality, and now we're talking about construction. So I want to thank you for your attention, but more importantly for your continued support on this project. More credit to you. There were a lot of reluctancy from other people and other agencies to take on this thing, and very few people thought that we were going to get it done, but we are going to get it done. Thank you. I may be able to answer any questions you may have about the item.
So, Mayor, in 2005, 2006, Mr. Angel and I looked very different than the way we look right now.
I used to have hair, that's what he means.
But yes, I think it just took the council's support throughout the years and people that believed since day one that this was possible to see it come to light now, 15 years later, 16 years later. So Mr. Angel is very humble as it pertains, as you know, he's an engineer and he sticks to the technicalities. But there is much more that has happened behind the scenes to have this done. And we should appreciate that. So with that said, I just wanted to compliment Mr. Angel's presentation, but if there's any questions.
Thank you. Any discussion, anybody want to add? No?
More than questions, I think it's a compliment, right? I know that this has been in the works for quite a long time. Yeah. And I think both of you gentlemen have had some history from what I know. You were probably in different sides at one point, and I'm glad that you guys are on the same side now.
We did not meet under the best circumstances, so you can say that again. But I would say this, just to supplement what you're saying, you have great partners on this. It's, certainly the staff, we follow direction, we implement your policies, right, to the extent that to the best of our abilities, in a few words, right? But you have great partners at the state level. You have Cali PA that has been unwavering in their support for the project. You have people from the Department of Water Resources participating on the one-to-one meetings with the Corps of Engineers, prioritizing this project at the state level for permitting. So more credit to you. You have some, and also the Resources Agency, just to name a few. Not to mention the local support, right? The IID has also been steadfast with their support for the project, and also the county. They've been invaluable. But the way I look at it, we owe it to the people. We bureaucrats, because I used to work for the state. I mean, we're there, but we're not a ground zero, right? We don't live it on a day-to-day basis what people experience here, right? And unfortunately, you see a lot of indigenous people, accessing the river for good or bad. So we are also trying to make it safe for them. It's not fair for them to get exposed for extra wide reason. So I'm very mindful, of the obligation that we have. But fundamentally, we owe it to the people of Calexico. And I wanted to leave you with that message, this is not about anyone here, it's about the people. Because this project came from the bottom up. It didn't come from the top down.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it shows, but thank you for your hard work and looking forward to, March, for those bids and continue to do this great work.
Mark your
Appreciate
calendar
it.
and get a shovel.
All right, thank you.
All right, your motion to approve. Make a motion by Riola Fernandez. Somebody second that?
Second.
Second by Marcia. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Aye. 5-0. Thank you very much. Item number 11.
Yes, Mayor, City Council, members of the community, this item is tied to the discussion that we had to item 9. Like this council has recommended, what we do for all projects that get awarded a construction agreement, we have a management piece that goes with it. That's a separate procurement process. And with that said, because we want to make sure that we're unbiased, that we stay neutral, what this item before you is the management and inspection services of the project tied to the taxiway project for the Calexico Airport.
So move.
Second by Mr. Arriola Fernandez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Thank you very much. Item number 12.
Yes, Mayor, this is an item along the lines of continuing the efforts to complete Cordova Park that we've been discussing at length in previous meetings. We've had presentations on the project that were done by staff. And as part of those presentations, it was brought to our attention that at some point we would be bringing this item. And this item pertains to the purchase of the grass seed, the fertilizer, and the sports soil specifically for the baseball fields, for which there's going to be 3 on the project. The time of year right now is the best time, obviously, to carry out this activity. If there's any further questions or maybe a refresher that you guys may wish to have, I think it's very well welcomed by us, and staff will be more than happy to also address any comments.
I do have a request for
Okay,
comment
sorry, yeah.
and a question on the grass seed. So when I looked at this item, and I know I brought it up before when we looked at the Public Works budget, that a lot of it goes to labor for grass maintenance. I would really like for this to go back for a cost-benefit analysis between traditional grass seed, where we can factor in rising water costs, water scarcity, mandates that are going to come in for water reduction at a state level, and also the labor cost of grass maintenance, and to see if it's cheaper to go the traditional way over 5, 10, 15, 20 years, or if it's better for us to make the more expensive investment in artificial grass that might be cheaper in the long run. I would like that to come to council before I vote on this.
Good idea.
And I'll make it into a formal motion to table for that analysis.
What is analysis? Second.
Okay, so the motion was made to table this item based on a cost analysis. That's what the motion is.
Based on the comments that were made by
Right,
Councilman.
I'm sorry, now it's open for discussion. I know I have a second from you.
Yeah.
All right, but we to discuss.
We've been waiting for this for a very long, Mr. Ureña. We really have, and I'm sure that they already did the legwork on it. You know, we really have been waiting for this. You know, how long has it been? It's been years. I think we should move on it. I feel that, you know, I mean, if you look about having artificial grass, it's not really, I don't think it's feasible. I mean, I personally, you know, so I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but that's my feeling.
Was there a
Okay.
cost benefit?
Yeah, hold
What
on.
is that cost?
Huh?
I was just going to ask Lily, was there a cost benefit analysis made for synthetic grass or no?
There hasn't been a cost-benefit analysis, but when we did look for another project, it is very expensive. I know in the long run, because of the low maintenance, but unfortunately, this project doesn't have the sufficient funding to be able to buy artificial grass especially for 3 fields.
Okay, sounds good. Mr. Figueroa, at a future date, would we be able to consider synthetic grass down the road if we get more funds?
Well, it's all dependent on the funding. And if the question is pertaining to this project, at the moment, the way that for the past 17 years, Cordova Park has slowly evolved has been through the CFD payments by the residents of that area, for which that money is used to perform the project that was part of the development when that subdivision happened, which is Cordova Park. So any infrastructure that would go into Cordova Park is contingent on the CFD allowing for it to be paid. Unless someone decides to make a significant donation out of their goodwill for this, that would be the way.
Okay.
I'll withdraw my motion and make a motion to approve.
Comment, Mr. Garcia, yes. Okay.
Larry.
I understand your points, Mr. Ureña, and I could empathize with those, being visionary when it comes to using our resources. But on this, this is something that I have been asking, and like, Mr. Figueroa just said, Cordova Park has been in construction, for years, stages, and it looks that I'm sorry, it's a never-ending story, right? Because we put something up, we approve, the lighting, it went up. We approve the restrooms, they're up. So I think if we delay this project, and if we go back, just a couple of meetings ago, we have had, residents coming in, asking for more space to be able to have physical activity. So I think, right now is the time, to move forward. I'm really looking forward to, having, those fields available, a grand opening, some sort of grand opening. It's long overdue, a good cleanup also. If we can just also, I don't know if the trees were removed, the dead trees that were planted there. If we can also look into that, making sure that as we do this, if that can be taken care of also. But yeah, so this is long overdue. I'm really looking forward. I have been asking for this for quite a while. I'm finally glad to see that this is here for approval. So with that, I think the motion was withdrawn, so I move for approval.
Okay,
Second.
you have a comment? Okay.
Oh, no, I made a
No,
motion
withdrew
to
the
approve.
motion, right?
We need a second.
I made a motion to approve.
Oh, okay. So then a second.
So you second by, yeah.
So we're good to approve?
Yeah, he withdrew, and then he said motion to approve, Mr. Garcia second, and then we to vote on it.
Yes.
All right?
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, motion carried.
Mayor, item 13 will be presented by Chief Gerardo.
Again, I'm here. So the item brought up to you is the purchase of 10 mobile data terminals, mobile data computers, portable ones that are actually like tablets. They will be able to be mounted on the patrol cars, the new ones that we get, and that way we need them. The one is the ones we have on don't work. They're not. They're old computers. They're Windows 7 based. So we need to get the new ones, number one. Number two, the RIPA reporting that we have to do starting January 1st. In order for us to do this efficiently, my officers need to be able to do this out in the field. And what's going to happen is if we don't get this, I've got a feeling that we're not going to be in compliance when it comes to reporting, because the officers might have to break away from their stop to go somewhere, and they probably won't get back to filling out those forms. So by having this will bring us up to date, and the officers will be able to do their jobs easier, faster, and we'll be able to do everything on the field. Simple as that.
Just to go back to what I asked you, Miguel, on the sole source. So everything has been vetted, has been justified, because I really dislike audits, especially when it has a flag of a sole source. So,
Mr. Garcia, I did look into the sole source. We worked with the city attorney's office. They went back to our policy. That was fine. Ms. Lobato signed off on it. And the reason why we went sole source, like in the report says, is that Airwave Communications is the only person that supplies our warranties and they service our vehicles. If I were to go out of town like we did with the original Chargers, we bought all that equipment in Santee, and every time it broke down, we would have to drive a car. They would only drive down if we had 5 or more cars that needed service. So it makes it more practical for us, saves us more money. And it's a local business that we're going to support. Local as in countywide. They work on all the cars for IID and the county and every police agency and the federals here in the county.
Okay, and one last question, Chief. So we're going to install these tablets in the existing cars that we have, or the new ones that we're going to have. So because I wouldn't like to, I'm pretty sure that you thought of that.
So none of these are going to be, like I said, they're portable right now. They'll be able to hold them, touch them, carry them. Once we get their new police cars, they will be mounted on the racks, and the officers will check them in, check them out, or they'll be assigned to them so they can do their job more effectively.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Make a motion to move.
Make a motion. Motion was made by Mr. Arroyo Fernandez to move.
Second?
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0. Next.
Mayor, the next item is a request from the Calexico Baja Runners for a contribution towards the purchase of provisions for the Veterans Day ceremony at our local location here in Calexico in which the ceremony is going to take place, which is the cemetery, the Calexico Cemetery. Do you wish to elaborate? I know this is a request.
Just a little bit, thank you. Yeah, I was approached by the Baja Runners, and I'm going to speak on that day. I believe the Undersheriff, Fred Miramontes, is going to speak there. Obviously, the American Legion, the Veterans Affairs are going to be there, and obviously the veterans here in our community. So yes, I plan to attend, and they made this request. I believe in the past we've done. I don't know if they've ever done it or not, or.
Regardless of the civil organization,
Okay.
the community-based organization that may be out there, or any other agency that's for not lucrative as a nonprofit, these items come before your attention as a council for your consideration. In this case, this is a request that was received, and we're just following due process.
Right, and then as an added measure, I think they also reached out to all the nonprofits. They also got a contract, they're going to donate their time. So it's not only $300, but also all the people are pitching in with their effort. So I believe it's a good gesture for our veterans.
What time is it going to take place? Do you know the time?
They said about 10 o'clock.
Excuse me?
10 o'clock in the morning?
No, is it
No?
earlier
Is
than
it,
that?
is it 10?
Well,
It's usually 10 o'clock.
Yeah, 10 o'clock. I've not seen the flyer, but that's,
10 o'clock on Sunday,
Yeah.
on Veterans Day.
I just want to make sure that we don't get confused with the Mobile Walls celebration that's going to take place in El Centro.
in El Centro, right.
So it's two different things.
We're a little bit confused.
Yes, yeah,
Right.
two different things.
Okay, we remember, we have a fund for the $1,000 in this, ¿cómo se dice partida?
Oh, we have budget of that?
En el budget is,
this line item.
yeah, we have only $1,000.
There's a community development fund, which Ms. Romo is alluding to, that has
Oh,
that
what?
amount of money allocated for it,
How much is in that fund?
$1,000.
1,000.
Okay.
Yeah, nos quedan 700.
Okay.
Okay, so the motion's on the floor, okay, all those in favor?
To approve, right?
Hold on. Huh?
For approval?
Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried.
Who first and second?
Did somebody second? She made the motion?
Okay.
I believe you seconded it, correct?
Yeah, well, if not, I second, yeah,
No,
okay,
dijiste tú second.
yeah.
Yeah, some-
Yeah, right. We're clear with that?
Yeah.
And we all voted yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right, next item. So I'll take it from here, Mr. Figueroa?
Yes, sir. Yes, please.
Thank you. So the item number 15 is appointed by Mayor Morel to the Sentinel State Prison Advisory Board. The person assigned to it continues to be Fire Chief Padilla, and I believe he still is interested in serving that capacity, Mr. Figueroa.
Yes, sir.
So we'll go ahead and keep him there.
Yes.
And I entertain a motion to approve that. Motion to approve by Mr. Garcia. Anybody second?
Second.
Second by Ariola Fernandez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
I think it's just an appointment without a
You
vote.
don't have to. If
No?
you're-
No,
Do we vote on it?
Just an appointment. Gabby, it's an appointment? Okay.
It's just an appointment.
Okay.
It's on you.
Just an appointment.
All right.
No más nombres.
All right. Okay, so the next one, 16, appointment by me for primary representative as an alternate to the Bureau County Transportation Commission, ICT Board. Okay, so here's as a point of reference for my response to that. It's been the protocol that the mayor serves the primary representative in the commission. That's been the protocol. So I serve as that. And former Mayor Ariola Fernandez serves on the capacity there as an alternate, but she's also as a vice chair. You also go to the meetings. Okay, so what I'm thinking of doing is put Mr. Ureña as a third alternate, because I do go to other commissions, and I want to make sure that if I didn't show up and you're not there, he also shows. And also, because I think you're really interested in serving in transportation, so I believe that's going to give you an ability to serve and then get some experience that you might need it, Mr. Ureña. So please represent us well. I know you're going to do a good job if you do end up going to the meetings.
Sure, as long as council is okay with that. Are we allowed to
That's
have
okay.
3
Carlos?
members to 1 commission as first, second, third alternate?
You know, I'm not sure how they, ICTC governs, potentially.
Well, as far as the Brown Act goes.
No.
Well, only one would be present to the
Right,
meetings.
exactly, right.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
it just, to the extent one wasn't present, the alternate would.
I think our city clerk may have more information on the ICTC government side of it.
I believe they have the option for an alternate. I haven't seen any second alternates.
Well, she serves with the board. She's there full-time as a vice chair. Okay? And I wanted to give you the opportunity to Mr. Ureña to serve as it, just in case I can't make it and she can't make it.
It's possible, this, Carlos?
I mean,
We can make the motion, and then we'll just have to follow up with ICTC, see
Alright.
what their protocol is.
Sure, and it'll come back.
All right, we'll
Sounds
follow
good.
up. Is that, you okay with
Yeah,
that?
that's okay, as long as it comes back and it gets
All
cleared.
right, thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Ureña. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
so,
Well,
so,
we'll do,
so we
Mayor.
could do you could do the appointments right now, and then depending on, and then with 2 alternates, and then we'll just have to follow up with ICTC whether they allow that, 2 alternates or just
Right.
1.
We can provide an immediate response on that, just so everybody
Is aware.
is on the understanding of what will follow.
Right, and I think I want to make sure that his concerns addressed.
Of course, but I will make clear, in the event that there is only 1 alternate, I think it's with due diligence to the public that I should be that second alternate, because I have more experience. And if you pay attention to the council meetings, I'm making way more announcements on transportation than the current vice chair. So that is just in case, but otherwise I'm okay with the motion.
Okay, we're okay with that?
Mhm.
All right. Next one is appointment by Mayor Moreno for the administrative hearing officer pursuant to Municipal Code Section 1.7090, hearing officer. That's Mr. Jimmy Duron, who is still active. I believe he's still interested in serving, so we'll keep him there. Okay? I think that's it. Future items or agenda items. I just want one quick. So, in anticipation to meeting with the Mexicali officials, they brought to my attention that what I want to propose that create a binational commission that is going to address the health aspect of. I know they have a commission in Mexico with border issues, immigration, and all that. So I want to reach out and possibly create a commission for that. And then I'll report on that. So for next meeting, if that's even doable.
Also, what I would like to see is, I would like for the new mayor of Mexicali to come and visit with us, same way the previous ones did, come and meet with us.
Right. And then for that answer, Mr. Figueroa has an answer to that. Because I believe you spoke with somebody, right, Mr. Figueroa, today?
Former mayor, your request is to have an invitation for the Mexicali mayor.
The new one.
Yeah, I think there is an opportunity right now to make sure that the meeting that occurs when they come to our side of the border is one that has some items defined as to how we can both collaborate. So we can define that, we can extend that invitation so we can have, besides the recognition of having them come to our meeting, make it more fruitful for them to cross the border and actually leave with some type of action plan that we both agree on. So
I think we need to plan and move forward with the opening of the non-essential.
yes, ma'am,
border.
absolutely.
I think that's something that we really need to collaborate with them and work with them.
Understood, thank you.
Thank you. That's a good point. Anybody else?
Yeah.
I don't have any. Tú primero si quieres.
Okay. For the future agenda, present the situation of the commissions and the next meeting, Miguel?
Yes,
It's pending, ¿verdad?
understood.
Okay, and también, next meeting, I would like to hear a report from Favila, from Mr. Favila, on the activities of the Sentinel State Prison Advisory Committee.
It's noted, yes, thank you.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, that's it, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Romo. Mr. Ureña?
I have no future items, but I was going to ask Mr. Figueroa, for the pending special meeting that you discussed, the press conference, I know our staff and especially city manager's office and it's very busy. Are we still going to have both of those? Just a special meeting? What's going to happen?
Just given the recent occurrence that have happened in our county, where there was actually a press conference held related to the reopening of the border, the changes to the hours of operation of the East Port, in which I believe there were 2 council members, the mayor and yourself, that provided some important information. What we're doing at this point is making sure that the special meetings that we call, like the one we did for the sidewalk vending, the one that's coming up that I announced, the focus is that these are efforts that the council is making to address the needs that we have with the reopening of the tourist restriction to Calexico and the rest of the valley. I think at those instances is when we have an opportunity to share any information relative to the reopening. Why? Because moving forward, especially here in Calexico, I anticipate that there's going to be more items that are going to continue to incentivize and support the economy and the local businesses, specifically for the border crossings for the tourists.
That is excellent. So we're going to do as we go basically.
Yes,
as
sir.
they go.
Yes, that is correct.
Excellent. Okay. Great.
Yes, I want to go back to also to the commissions, make sure that they get back to work. I know it's crucial as the border's going to open up. I think that the Economic Development Finance Commission, bid, should be engaged with everything that is going on, whether it's the activities that are happening at downtown, the celebrations that are taking place. I think they should be actually brought on board to participate, to provide input. So as soon as possible, we can get back to that. And then also, Miguel, if I can have a report on the code enforcement activities and just an overall presentation of that area of our city, or department, activities of our city that takes place as part of the code enforcement. That's it.
Okay, having said that, make a motion to adjourn. Anybody second that? Second by Lord Fernando. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion, meeting adjourned at 8